Hey everybody. There's an idea that's become prevalent on many orchid sites on the internet. We're told that Phalaenopsis orchids are happiest when the roots are crammed together beneath the surface of the leaves. And how can we gauge the happiness of an orchid? It can't smile, it can't speak to us, and it's certainly not going to do a song and dance to show us how pleasurable its life has become. In the end, the only gauge we have to determine how happy an orchid is how healthy it is. Namely, how healthy the roots and the leaves are. And having a bunch of healthy flowers is an additional bonus. I'm not sure how these ideas take hold, but I think a quote expert unquote makes that claim, and then someone reads it, and then they pass it on, and it just snowballs to where everybody believes that that's true. So let's take a look at Orchid G3, which has been flowering for over 6 months. It's an orchid that's in stasis. The leaves are very healthy. And the roots underneath, which I'll show you, are also very healthy. There's a root tip forming right down here, which means that this root is growing a little bit. Additionally, we have another root there budding off of a longer root, which is a great sign of root health. Sorry that the view is a little unclear. This is a plastic container, not glass. But let's go up to the top here and look at some of these roots that are higher up. And you can see they look really good, although they could be filled with a little more water, kind of like these over here. These are literally like conical balloons. There's so much water pressure in there that these are like pieces of rock. But all in all, G3 is doing pretty well. And if we come back up to the flowers, there are 7 flowers. I think I've mentioned they've been here for over 6 months. And they're still going strong. And if that isn't enough, there's a new spike coming out. So clearly, Orchid G3 is on a roll. And its health and happiness has nothing to do with the idea that massive amounts of roots have to be bunched together beneath the surface of the leaves. Orchid number 1 is my very first orchid. I've had it for 12.5 years. The original spike, which is this one, had 8 flowers, and they're starting to wither now finally. And then somewhere along the way, this other spike grew, and there's an additional 4 flowers, which are doing very well. Let's take a look at the root system. At this point, there's not a lot of activity as far as growth is concerned in the roots. You can see a little bud there off one of the main roots. There's a tip down here that's showing some growth. And on the other side, you can see tributary type roots coming off of a main root here. And then these 2 down here are coming off that main root in the back. But that was all in the past. The roots are also filled with water, and they're not deflating or shriveling in any way. And especially when you come up and take a look at the top roots, there you go. These are filled to the brim, hard as rocks, and you can see, if I can focus in, there are little root tips right there, little green tips in the very beginning stages. And I think they're just waiting for all the flowers to die off. And then the leaves will turn their attention to, getting these roots going again. On this side, the roots are like cylindrical balloons blown up to the max. You can't get any more water into these roots. And they're just playing a waiting game too. You can see the little, right here, the green nub there, just waiting. And if we look at the leaves, they're very firm. They spring right back. They're not floppy at all. The new one's very hard. The second one, very hard. Third one, fourth or fifth one, they're all very hard and healthy. As far as watering goes, this entire orchid is subsisting on no more than 2 ounces of water per week. And I might add that whenever I water any of my orchids, since we're using this air culture and they don't have the benefit of getting nutrients from bark and from moss, I always add a pinch of fertilizer of some kind when I'm watering. The roots of Orchid 13 are sparse, just like the other two. They're not jumbled together, but this is a very happy and healthy orchid. The roots are filled with water. You can see growth right here, this growth tip. On the other side, there's a couple of more tips indicating growth right there. And the other one is it's hard to see, but it's way down there. So there is growth occurring with the bottom roots. The top roots also look really good, although there's a bit of collapsing. For instance, with this one here, in the velamen, but look at the growth. And the roots on this side are filled with water and are very hard. The top 5 leaves, this, are all very hard, very rubbery feeling, and spring right back, no matter what direction you put them in. So I would say that this orchid is definitely in stasis, in spite of the fact that there isn't a mass of roots packed tightly together below the level of the leaves. So in conclusion, I honestly can't tell you if these 3 orchids are happy, but what I can tell you is that they are all very healthy.